Cadiz Asset Management has more than 40 billion rand in assets under management for both individuals and institutions. The company was recognized at the 2012 Raging BuIl Awards, where the Cadiz Managed Flexible Fund won an award for Best Domestic Asset Allocation Prudential Fund. Cadiz has a price to earnings ratio of 27 and a market cap of 683 million rand. Well, we're obviously moving down the spectrum from a size perspective when it comes to assets under management now. So 40 billion rand, more flexibility, but let's look at Cadiz's track record here. What is the market saying?
Well, I mean, Cadiz has had a bit of a tough time recently. I mean, they've sold 60% of their securities business to BNP Paribas. So they're getting out of that. I mean, you look at Peregrine, they're still making money, but Cadiz wasn't. Also, a lot of management changes. The CEO's left, 2 directors resigned last month. A lot of changes. We look at their performance hasn't been great. They've been struggling, their assets haven't been growing. They've been struggling. This one's been struggling. And
one thing, Eugene, you're looking for when it comes to choosing an investment company or a fund management company is consistency. You don't want to see changes in management and certainly uncertainty in the picture.
Well, if you look at the company performance, you do want to see a change in management, and I think the change in management is more positive than negative. I mean, they have been battling for a very long time. Their capital allocation was really poor. They sat with excess capital for a very long time, low ROEs. So the potential on the asset management side, I think, is reasonably good. I think the broking business, they're still holding on to a portion. The type of broking business that they have is really expensive, where they do have broker research teams. And I think bringing BNP Paribas into the game enable them to leverage off their international platform, which I think is positive.
In other words, let me just interrupt there, Eugene. You are saying that the changes in management here were potentially long overdue, if I read between the lines correctly. Is that what you're saying?
That's my view.
Jonathan, is that a fair criticism?
Without being too rude to previous management, I mean, I think the previous CEO wasn't focused. I mean, certainly the last few times I chatted to him, he was more interested in extreme athletic sports rather than running the business. So probably yes.
What about the credibility of the new management team? Eugene, can you shed any light on that?
They've got to prove themselves. I think if you look at the broader business, the asset management business, I think there's reasonably good management depth. The asset management skills, I think, is fairly good. On the broking side, there's a lot of depth. So I think it's leadership, and I think it's got to prove itself. So this is the type of stock that you need to see some sort of cash earnings involvement before I would get involved. I'm a conservative investor. I know they paid out attractive dividends because of the sale, but it's not generating sufficient cash at this stage. So I would sit back and wait for recovery before I get involved.
A wait-and-see story here, in other words. Jonathan, you agree with that strategy?
I tend to agree with it. I mean, if you look at it, if to market cap after it pays out the special dividend, it sits at 1.2% of AUM. So you compare that to Coronation 3.1. Obviously, this thing doesn't have the track record. It doesn't have the team that Coronation's got. So, and it's got other assets. It's a 1x NAV, which is quite cheap. But I mean, I agree. You want to buy an asset manager when you can see that they're putting performance on the board, because then you know that the client flows are going to come to them.
So you're not convinced this is going to rise like a phoenix anytime soon?
Well, they need to put the performance on the board. If they have good performance, the funds will flow.
Eugene, hot or not when it comes to Cadiz?
No, not.
Not hot. Very unenthusiastic, not hot there. Jonathan?
Not hot from our side either.